You fucking mutt! Actually, I'm not joking. I ran past the 18-yard box because the potatoes were just raining down on us. I'm just lucky I didn't want it, because if I wanted it, I was in trouble. Got Mourinho like 6 feet away and just grating his boot on. Aiden's pissing in the back of the police van when we're on the way to the station, and I'm thinking, what's going? I've got my feet up like that, trying not to get pissed on him. Then his wife has wobbly eyes. He looks like Nookie Bear. Stop trying to thread the fucking eye of a needle. Just fucking pass it wide. At the beginning, when I first went into hospital in Durham, they were unsure if I'd walk again initially. He got sent off straight red, done him a kip out of my face, swung out at us, and I jumped up as though he kicked us bad, it didn't hurt. And he got a straight red, so it was 10v9. And then the next day I get to the story, Woody Spark, the lead singer from the rock band, gives him an absolute banjo.
Yes, the leaders in men's grooming are supporting us once again. And they're back with the 4.0. It sounds good, doesn't it?
It sounds incredible.
It sounds as though you could cut the lawn with it. Yeah. Mind your fucking balls.
Sort your package out with the Manscape 4.0 performance package. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah!
Oh, I wasn't expecting that then.
No, I don't know where I came from, Chris. That's what Manscaped does.
Yes, you can join the 2 million other men. That's 4 million pristine testicles, that. 2 million
Well
men.
worked out.
Yeah.
Well,
Is yours pristine?
Oh, well, no, because I lost it, didn't I?
Oh, you did.
I lost it. I left it in one of the hotels when we were doing a podcast. So
yeah.
Colin the caretaker, Premier in Paffelli,
He's looking
has got
magnificent.
home.
He
Julie,
don't realise how lucky a day he had, does he?
got for this, Julie.
You know,
Jesus.
he could have found somebody's wallet with 300 quid in, but it's from your Manscaped.
Found my
with
Manscaped.
Loads of hairs.
He found my Manscaped. But you can join the other 2 million and the 4 million testicles by going to www.manscaped.com, getting on the performance package and putting in the code COSH20. But no, yet the performance package 4.0 is out and you can get 20% off with the code COSH20. Do you know what the performance package comes with? There it is in the little bag.
I'll show you now, Chrissy.
It comes with the Lawnmower 4.0 precision engineering. Yes, to give that clinical cut around the testicles. No nips, no cuts.
Here she is.
You can just go wild on the nuggets with that.
Oh, I'm glad you've...
There's a bit of debris on the...
I'm glad you've left them hairs on there for us, Matthew. Very much appreciated.
An easy ride. You can just go wild on the nuts. An easy ride from the gooch to the shaft.
It is a comfortable
Whips it
shave.
all off. No. Who's
Dear
been using that?
Yeah, mate. Look at the state of that, yeah.
Not only...
Comes in handy, by the way.
You get
On a
the
day
weed
like
whacker,
today.
which is for the nose, and,
Yeah.
the lug holes.
It works on mine, so
It'll work on
it'll
anything.
work on anything. Tried and tested.
And then once you've done that, there's the formulas. Is that the
Deodorant. It does come in
deodorant?
handy.
Yes, the crop preserver ball deodorant.
Yeah.
And the crop reviver ball toner. And 2 free gifts come with it as well. That's your boxer shorts and your little bag. But yes, get your 20% off when you go to www.manscaped.com and put in the code COSH20.
Fill your butts.
Done me proud.
Done well, very well for me.
Yeah. Good results
Yeah.
all round.
100%, Chris.
Oh.
I would actually go down on myself if I could.
Cut that.
Hold on, which one was it? T-O-T-M-O. No, it's not. Got it wrong. T-O-T-O-M-T-O-M-O. Tom O. That's what we used to sing.
It's something like that,
Yeah. Grammatically incorrect, that as well.
Aye.
So, but
Grammatically or dramatically, because yours weren't
dramatically incorrect and all that.
That
I
was
was
a roller
confident then
coaster.
coming in.
I know you were.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
You all right, mate?
All good, yes.
Thanks for coming
I
on.
was,
Yeah,
well,
much appreciated.
Nice to see. I was on time this morning, but
Yeah,
we'll not go into that part yet.
morning after the night before, innit?
Yeah. Yeah. The Man City game last night. It was a good game.
Nice bit of hospitality, lads,
Yeah.
was it? Yeah.
It didn't suit us. It's not our bread and butter, that.
Was it not?
Nah.
Nah.
There weren't enough bread and butter, that was the problem.
Yeah.
Collar and tie?
Nah, we dressed down, but it was just the portions and that.
Too big?
Far from it. Far fucking from it.
Is it scallops? 2 scallops. About that big for a starter. We were livid, weren't we?
That's no good, is it?
I thought they came warm, me, scallops, but they're fucking freezing, weren't they? No.
Yeah.
Shite. Man City shite.
Not for you, that.
No.
Not for you, Port. Yeah.
The pies would have been no good with your training because you've got a boxing match coming up, haven't you?
I am trying to watch what I'm doing. Still getting me fix of chocolate, like. But I've got a fight coming up, so trying to.
The lad from Blue, is it?
Yeah, Blue. So normally anything Blue with me. Celtic Rangers connections a little bit. So hopefully that'll give us a bit of inspiration. The lad Simon Webb from Blue, yeah.
Did it just come out of nowhere?
They got in touch with us about 6 weeks ago. I think there's 18 fighters, 9 fights. Most of them signed up about 12 weeks ago, I think. So I'm like halfway down the line from where most of the rest of them are. So I'm on catch up. So if it doesn't go well on the Saturday night, that'll be my excuse. I signed up late.
I think this will be out after the fight. So
will it?
If you win, we'll keep it in. But if you get beat, we'll just take the edit out.
I'm odds on probably to get beat. So
Can you make it so you do get beat and we can have a bet on
I
it?
will. We can maybe sort something out, yeah. 1, 2 or 3. Do you want us to go down?
Well, mate.
You got the book coming out as well soon?
Yeah, I'm proofreading it at the minute, so hopefully that'll be out probably on Kindle end of October, and then on the shelves maybe early November. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Have you enjoyed the process, like going through?
Yeah, it was hard work initially. I moved into Jamie's house, Jamie Boyle, the author, for a week. It was fucking intense living with him for a week, let me tell you. I don't know how his missus puts up with him. I don't know if you've met him or not, but he's full on. So it was hard work, but on the Friday when I left his house to go back to Lynn where I live, it was the traffic was a nightmare on the M62, but I was just relieved to be out of his house and in the car going back to Lynn with the window down, chilling out, because it was a bit therapeutic, you know, getting a lot of shit off your chest and stuff that's been in the back of your mind for years and stuff. So it was hard work, but I enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
Is that the thing to do then when you're writing a book? Just to go and take yourself away, move in with him?
Well, the other alternative, I suppose, was either on the phone or Zoom, something like that. But
It's not the same, is it?
no, I just thought go in for a week, hit it hard, and then even though it was tough going, we got it done and dusted rather than 4, 5, 6 weeks on the phone, an hour or two a day. We were doing 7, 8 hours a day at his house, so it was intense, but I was pleased when I got it done. Yeah.
Started at Newcastle, but before that, Wall's End Boys Club, isn't it?
I started at Wall's End, along with many others.
A lot of other big names have come through there, haven't they?
Lads older than myself. My age group was like myself, Lee Clark, Steve Watson, who Party knows well, Robbie Elliott, and you got Alan Shearer, slightly older than us, Steve Bruce older than that, Peter Beardsley older than that, Neil MacDonald, Michael Carrick a little bit younger than me. So there's been a conveyor belt over the years, yeah. I mean, there hasn't been anyone recently, I would say, of any standout. So
are they still going?
They're still going. They're still going, but I don't know if the academy systems took that away from the boys' clubs or what. But there hasn't seemed to have been anyone for a few years that's broken through. But a great conveyor belt over the few years, and that's where I started off. Yeah.
How old were you when Newcastle signed you up?
I think I was 13 when you initially get signed, when you can actually sign a form. But I was going in back then it was called the Centre of Excellence, and so I was going in from 8, 9 year old, a couple of nights a week. Then you get to 13, 14. Not sure what it was like when the lads were playing, but when you signed for a club, you could still play for your boys' clubs and you can do bits and bobs, play for your school, play for your district, play for your county. Once you're associated with a professional club, now that's it. You can only play for them, which for me, I'm not sure if that's the right process for young lads. I think you should be playing for as many teams and getting as many touches of the ball you can, not just with your academy. But back then it was great. I loved the way it worked.
I don't know about you, but I always enjoyed playing with my mates at school and stuff more than when it got too serious. I didn't enjoy it as much.
You used to enjoy playing with your mates' sisters at school as well, you.
Needless, isn't it, Tom? Needless.
That's below the belt, that one. But
It's true though, isn't it? It's true.
I just wondered what you meant when you said playing with your mates, but no, it was great playing with different teams. Whereas now the kids, they're just playing for the basic academies, whoever they're with, you know. You know, I think you get to know different people, and you don't always play on good pitches like they do nowadays. You go and play on shit heaps, and it's a great grounding and improves you as a player, in my opinion. Well, I know the academy system's been going for a while now, but I'm not sure if they get, everything their own way.
Yeah.
are you looking up to in that first team when you're a young lad?
At Newcastle?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't Newcastle weren't Premier League at the time. They were down in the doldrums, really. But when I was a young lad on the terraces, watching before I signed for the club, you had Keegan roundabout then, coming back in '83, Terry McDermott, Chris Waddle, Gaza breaking in the team, Imre Varadi. So it was a great Newcastle team to watch as a kid. But then eventually when I left school and joined, the first team had lads like Mickey Quinn, very similar player to Parky, you know.
Very similar shape and all.
Score goals for fun, not the most mobile. Bit like another teammate of mine, John Hartson, was the same, you know. Good target man, technically good. So Quinny was great around the place. Roy Aitken, great ex-pro. Celtic, Mark McGee, ex-Celtic. So it was a good grounding, seeing, you know, real good pros who'd played a lot of games, and they didn't take any shit from us young lads, that was for sure. They weren't scared about giving us a clip. Oh, yeah, if you step out of the line, you'd get a clip without a doubt, yeah. Yeah, off those lads.
You get one?
Got a few. Without a doubt, yeah. You get locked in the boot room and lights off and given a hiding or something like that, you know, old school.
The amount of stories we've heard about that, man.
I think that's what's missing. I think that's missing in football now.
You get locked up now, though, wouldn't you? You'd lose your job if, you know, you can't get away with it anymore. But back then, it was the norm. Not just Newcastle, anywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah. How was our dealers?
Brilliant. He'd often join in the little circle before the game or before training, and he'd have a fag in his mouth, and he'd one touch, just didn't give the ball away. He'd never be in the middle. And then he'd drop the odd story in about Maradona and people like that, you know, Mario Kempes, and you just think, all right, not a problem then. You just dropped Aussie and I'll pick that name up, Kempes. World Cup winner 78 and all that, yeah. No, he was different class Aussie, yeah. We couldn't understand him, but we knew what he was trying to do.
You nearly took a turn for the whistle when you were, what, 17?
16, yeah, just after I left school, joined Newcastle. We'd been down to Elland Road to watch a reserve team game. And we had a bad car accident on the way back, and yeah, it was a mess, and I had a real bad neck injury, so I was very lucky.
And there's 4 other youth team lads
There was me and 4 others in the old style mini, so it was pretty cramped, if you can remember the size of the old minis. Yeah. So that was 1990, so I missed a good 14, 15 months of me groom, like, you know,
proper progression time.
So I was watching my mates getting in the first team while I was out with this big Robocop and neck brace on, you know what I mean, and sitting on a bike pedaling all day while they were travelling, playing games and stuff was hard to do, but luckily got through it.
Yeah. Was it up in the air whether you would play again?
It was touch and go at the start whether I'd walk again, so there's a lot about it, and the book goes into quite a lot of detail. The physio from Newcastle at the time, still at Newcastle now, a lad called Derek Wright, he writes a bit in the book about how severe the injury was and how lucky I was, so very grateful to go
fair, on. Newcastle's done well to sort of stand by you then, really, haven't they? If you said you were out for 14 months at that age.
Yeah, even on my 17th birthday, they weren't sure I was going to get back to playing again. They let us sign a pro contract just out of looking after us and trying to give us a lift type of thing, which it did. It gives a lift, signing a pro contract, and I hadn't played a dozen games in a youth team, so shows you how highly they thought of us, and they stood by us massively, yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah.
But it was a tough time for me and my family, because, like I said at the beginning, when I first went into hospital in Durham, they were unsure if I'd walk again initially. Then I had a big neck brace on, got out, and then that wasn't healing, so I had to go back into the Freeman Hospital in Newcastle and get surgery in the January, which was a nightmare for a young lad getting neck surgery, because you don't know what's going to happen. So tough time, but luckily come through it, yeah.
Was it one of them, you know, when you got back, was it something that spurred you on never to take it for granted? You know, you always wanted to...
I never took anything for granted, and, you know, I didn't really suffer any bad injuries throughout my career in terms of ankles, knees, hips or anything like that. Just, I had that bad one in the car accident at the start, and then just got a couple of little niggles on the way, so I was lucky really after that. I mean, I suffer a bit now. The back and the neck sometimes. So
fucking don't say that. If Simon Webb's fucking listening,
I
don't think it's a piece of piss.
That's what my dad said to us the other week when I told my dad I was in this boxing thing. He was like, "Are you taking a piss or what?" He said, "One good punch and your neck will go." I've had 15, 20 years heading the football. Well, I didn't really fucking head it, to be honest, but you know, hopefully the neck will stand up.
Did Ozzy give you your chance?
Ozzy gave us my debut,
At what age and how long from getting back from your neck to Your
I had
debut.
the car crash in September 90. I think it was November, December 91. So it was well over a year, you know. But I was sub and I remember we had to have a collar and tie for the first team game the next day at St James's against Cambridge, it might have been. And I had to go down to Next in the city centre and get myself a jacket and a tie and a shirt and a pair of strides. I mean, it was this maroon blazer thing I bought. I must have looked the right knob. And I turned up on the Saturday and I was sub. So he goes out, warms up, blah, 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 and comes in after the warm-up, ready to get your gear on to sit on the bench and that. And Lee Clark's running off the pitch to play at St James's, some steps as you come off the pitch to get into the dressing rooms. And he's running up the steps and something goes in his foot. He'd fractured something in his foot. So they comes in, manager comes in, Tomo, you're playing? I'm like, fucking hell. I ain't got any time to prepare for it, like, you know what I mean? So it wasn't a bad thing because I wouldn't have probably slept the night before if I'd known I'd been starting. So because Lee got injured in the warm-up, I ended up starting the game. So, Ozzy, give us me chance.
How'd you do? First game?
I done all right, I think. I scored, we won 2-0. I put a good ball in at the Leeds' end for Steve Howe. He scored a good header, so an assist in my first game. I was happy with that. But I can't remember much about it, apart from that.
But that was you in then? The manager trusted you?
I got in.
You must have had a good night that night in Newcastle, eh? Did you go out?
I don't think I was 18, Parky, so I wouldn't have been allowed out. No, I would have had a good night. I would have had a night. Probably with the lads, Watto and Clarkey and Steve Howe and people like that, Lee Makel and stuff, so I would have been a good night.
Did they get you going out, lads? What?
I would...
The older ones.
They'd often drag us out. They'd often drag us out. Tommy Wright, goalkeeper. Forgot to mention Kevin Sheedy before. Sheeds like the pint. Kevin Dillon. So they'd often drag you out on a night out. Remember one night they dragged us out. We'd been to some awards ceremony at the Civic Centre in the town. And they've all got their dicky bow ties and that, the lads. Well, me, Steve Watson and Lee Clark haven't got them. So we go into this place in the city centre to hire suits. So we thought that would be a bit different. We'll get the black strides, white jacket, white shirt and a red tie. So we went to the awards ceremony and we ended up in this place in Newcastle called Gray's Club, which is quite well known for the older birds coming in. You know, we're 18, 19, but some of the older lads were in the element. Well, if they were single, they would have been in their element. Not the married ones, obviously. And we get to chatting to these women, me, Steve and Lee. And we must have said something underwater. One of us must have. And they just threw these pints on me. Well, they weren't even our suits, so we had to take the suits back the next day. So we take the suits back into this place in Newcastle next to the monument, and the bloke's like, the jackets were just full of beer stains and all that. Just said with a dry cleaning bill. So now we would get a night out with the older boys, but yeah, good drink, man. We were just young lads. We couldn't keep up with them in those days.
Was Kilcline there?
Killer would have been there, yeah.
We've heard, had a few of the lads on from that time. They said he was the main man.
Aye, Killer, he would organise most of it. We got promoted, and the gaffer said, get yourselves away. We went to Iron Apper. Don't know if anyone's been on him. If Nash has been on, he might have told you the story. So we've been out on the lash in Iron Apper, and we all go back, early evening to have a bit of a kip and a shower, get freshened up after the beach. Well, Killers fell asleep in the bar in this little place we're staying in. So he's had a few scoops. So one of the lads, Killer's got his tash in his beard and his long hair. One of the lads shaves half of Killer's tash off when he's asleep. So when he wakes up sober, Killer's like, what the heck? He's gone mental.
Loved it as well, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, it was his pride and joy. What's his missus going to say when he lands back in Newcastle and he's got half a tash? You know what I mean?
He's not keeping half a tash.
That's what he was worried about, his missus, when he landed in Newcastle, what she'd say, because she loved his tash and his beard and that. And anyways, his initial thoughts were me, Watto, and Nash, Lee Clark. So apparently he's on the warpath. We've got to do a runner. We do a runner back, and we've still got our beachwear on. We thought we can't even go back now because he thinks it's one of us. Young lads had a drink, taking the piss. As it happens, it was one of the senior players. And I think it was Derek Fazackley who was looking after us at the time. He was the first team coach under Kevin Keegan. And Faz had to calm him down and tell him it wasn't us. But we still weren't going back, even though he wasn't. I think he got to the bottom of who it was, Killer. I think it was Barry Venison, it might have been. If Killer doesn't know, sorry, Ven, as I've just grasped on it. But, no, I'm sure they got to the bottom of it, but, oh, man. Yeah, Killer.
Do you want to kill him then? Or do you want to kill you?
Oh, he was on a warpath, Killer, yeah. One, he was probably still half cut because he's been out all day on the lash. But that was his pride and joy, man. That and his ponytail and his barge up somewhere in the hills in Yorkshire. But he was a proper character killer, yeah.
I can't remember. It might have been Bez that was saying it. After that, it was never the same because he was held in such high regard. It was a bit of a lack of respect type thing, and he said that it just never was the same after that. Or he wasn't. I think did his hair go as well?
I don't know if they cut his ponytail off or it was half his because his tash was massive.
Yeah.
It was like a big ferret over his top lip type of thing. But they might have cut his ponytail now you said that, yeah. But it didn't go down well. I don't think Killer found it funny at all.
Yeah.
And you don't want to cross Killer, to be fair.
No, a big old unit, weren't he?
Still on the barge now, isn't he?
I think he spends half his time on the bodge, half the year, summer over here, and then Portugal, I think, the rest of the time. I haven't seen him for a few years, but great fella. Great lad having a dressing room.
So you're saying you wouldn't have slept night before. Did you suffer from nerves before a game?
I did. Once the game started, I was all right. But I used to spew up before games.
Yeah.
Used to spew up.
I've had a few lads say
before the
that,
game, and then half time. I was a nightmare.
Get one out at half time as well.
I'd get one out at half time, whether it was in the dressing room or on the pitch. I mean, the groundsman at Celtic Park used to go mental with me. There'd be patches where I'd spewed up when I'd go back.
So
on the
even
pitch.
that far into your career, like at
even
Celtic?
towards the end, I mean, the last time I played a run of games would have been on loan at Hartlepool towards the end of my career.
Yeah.
And I went back to Leeds for the last half of the last season. I didn't play much at Leeds when I went back, but even at Hartlepool, just before I retired, I'd still do it.
When did it start?
Started as soon as I was a kid when I got into the first team at Newcastle.
Just in the first team,
Aye.
not when you were younger.
Not younger, no, but then Bruce Riot talks about it in my book. He does a little chapter in between, like a little piece in between chapters, and I read it the other day, and he was talking about Stanley Matthews used to do it, so Stanley Matthews
in good
can do
company.
it. Sammy Lee used to do it at Liverpool, I found out, so I think it's more common than you think, but
Yeah.
the pre-match meal would come back up, and whatever I was drinking at half time would come back up, and
Was there ever a time, like, as the game's going on and you haven't felt sick or haven't wanted to be sick, you're thinking, I don't feel right here. I need to be sick.
No, I think that's what it was all the way through. I needed to do it to make us feel better. I don't know. It was just one of them things. But as soon as the game started, I wouldn't get out of breath and think, I need to do it now. It was just when it had stopped, I don't know, I was thinking about it or what. I did go to get some help on it, but it wasn't pretty inconclusive, really. He just said it might have been a fucking fear of getting injured after having a serious car accident, neck injury, but
Spit bucket might be getting some stick when you get it ring.
I was getting battered. I haven't even thought of that. Imagine spewing up before getting in the fucking ring. Holy shit, or in the ring.
He might slip on its side.
Be like that to me corner man. Give us the bucket. At least he's got a bucket. There's no buckets on the pitch, is there? But
at least you'll have an excuse as well if it goes tits up. I've had a bug. I've struggled.
Even I don't know. Have you done them COVID tests when you could have put it down? You have to anything in my mouth. I'm a nightmare, me. Unless it's a pair of tits, like. But that gum shield in my mouth, do you know what I mean? It just makes you want to, like, the gag reflex type of thing. So even when I've been out running and doing these power walks and that, I've been trying to wear the gum shield just to get used to something in my mouth. So I've never even thought about spewing up before. Cheers. Thanks for bringing that up. No, but there was one story we were playing one away game. It was after Ozzy O'Neill has left, and Kevin was the manager at Newcastle. Kevin Keegan, Terry Mack was number 2. And I didn't think I was playing. It was an evening kick-off. So we had pre-match and gone back to the room and that. You got an hour to kill before you get on the bus, haven't you, before you go to the game. And I was still hungry after pre-match. I didn't think I was starting. So I'd ordered some chocolate gateau from room service. Anyways, we're having a team meeting before we get on the bus downstairs in the meeting rooms. Kevin names the team and I'm in the team. Well, gets to the ground, don't we? I'm in the sink, in the toilets, in the... chocolate gateau all over the shop and all that. Goes out to warm up. Kevin goes in the urinals for a pee and Terry, come and have a look at this. And one of the sinks was full of chocolate gateau. He got Terry to ring the hotel and found out who'd ordered chocolate gateau. So that didn't go down well. he actually put it in his book, Kevin. He put that in his book. I was thinking, holy shit, he's battered us there. But that was the early days. You know.
Did this help about it before the game then?
No, but he battered us after. He absolutely battered us after the game. What are you doing? I went, I was still hungry, didn't think I was playing. Well, I hadn't named the fucking team, so it's probably the wrong thing to do, but
Solid detective work, that
one
though,
way
isn't
of
it?
getting caught,
brilliant.
isn't it?
I got Terry to ring the hotel and see who'd order chocolate gaffle. Got some spewing stories, man.
So, did you, when it come to moving to Bolton, were you just feel like you needed to progress, play more football?
We had a couple of lads older than me at Newcastle at the time. I mentioned Kevin Sheedy, world of a left foot, absolute worldie. Scott Sellers was older than me, so there were two lads there who I didn't see myself getting a lot of football in the team for probably. Sheeds was probably towards the end of his career, but then Scoot was he probably still had a good 6, 7, 8 years in him. So I thought I ain't going to dislodge him out the team. I was a young lad, 17, 18. So I just thought the time was to move on. And as much as I didn't want to, Newcastle was my boyhood club. So
how old were you?
I was 19, I think, when I left.
That's a big decision, though, still at 19, isn't it?
Aye. So it was just time to move on and try and play some games. Obviously, I wanted to make the most of it after being out for a long period with a neck injury. I just wanted to go and play.
Did they want you to stay?
Newcastle, they'd offered us a deal to stay, but I didn't see myself playing, and I wanted to play. I'd had a taste of first team football at Newcastle. I'd played only about 20 games, but I wanted to play. And
that's no age now, is it?
20,
No.
19,
19, 20, like,
No.
like the lads who were playing at City last night, they're getting the first chance probably at 20, 21, 22. And just thinking about breaking into the team.
Well, I've got a young relative who's two of them at Newcastle, the Longstaff brothers. They're related, and young Matty's 21. He's gone on loan to Aberdeen just to get some probably games under his belt. Hopefully, he goes back to Newcastle and be a better player for it. But I just thought at the time I was 18, 19, I wanted to go and play. And Bolton come in, and I knew Colin Todd from the North East. His son was the same age as me, he'd been at Newcastle, Andy Todd. And he mentioned it to Bruce Riot, and they come in, and I fancied it. So that was how the Bolton move come about.
Did you hit the ground running? Or did it take you a while?
I was in and out. I was in and out at first. Bruce had a really good team. So it took us a bit of time to settle. There's plenty in the book about it. I lived on my own, got in a bit of bother. Bruce, being the kind of manager he wasn't happy because I was a young lad, got my dad down for a chat to my dad and moved us into digs type of thing. So took us a bit of time to settle, but once I found my feet, it was great.
Bit of bother going out and then finding out?
I got involved with Phil Brown, John McGinley, Aidan Davison. Don't know if anyone knows Aidan. Come across him.
Goalkeeper.
Aye. Absolute crackerjack of the highest order. Tell you some stories about the big fella. Holy shit. But he was from the North East, Aidan Davison. Phil Brown was from the North East. I was from the North East. So they were kind of lads I got around. John McGinley was a great lad. So I think Bruce wasn't so happy that I was knocking around with the older players type of thing. But they were the kind of lads I got myself attached to and got in a bit of bother.
Someone did mention, though, talking about Aidan Davison, was there something with a bet on the buzz on the way home from an away game? Someone mentioned.
Yeah, there was a few times there'd be a card school going at the back, and back in the day, if we had a game away from home and then you've got a 3-4 hour bus journey back to Bolton and you got a decent result, the gaffer would let you get a few beers on the bus. You get out the ground and you try and find the first off licence, and the lads were playing cards. McGinn was playing, Brownie would have been playing, Aidan Davison, can't remember who the fourth player was. And Aidan sat next to the window, so a few cans in that. You need a piss, don't you? Don't want to disrupt the card game, so you just fill the bottles up and that. So the lads would just pass the bottle around, fill the empty bottles of water up. Big fella's had a few cans and he's like, lads, have a whip round and I'll neck that bottle. And we're like, nah. So we'd have a whip round the bus, $5 a man. And the big fella he'd have a dabble at that and he'd just go, oh, lovely that. And then he'd just neck it and pocket himself 100 and odd quid like type of thing. So that's proper old school, a big fella.
It's probably a little bit frothy on top.
It's got that froth on it.
He loved the crack, the big fella. So
strange cats for them keepers, aren't they?
They're a different breed. I mean, couldn't tell off the stories about some of them, but they're definitely a cut above the rest.
2 promotions.
Yeah,
Bolton.
it was a good time. Bruce was different class. Bruce Riot
Was he?
He was different class. I mean, we weren't like an out footballing team. We were fit. We had good players. We could play. Don't get us wrong. You don't win the championship as by a distance that we did without being a decent team. But he had us fit. He had a good mixture of senior players. You know, McGinley, Coyley, Mixu, Patalainen, Tags. Then he had good younger lads, Stubbsy, Jason McAteer, myself, Nathan Blake was, you know, quality. So it was a good combination, and there was no coincidence that we were successful at that level. And then maybe the Premier League was probably a step, probably too much for us. The first season at the Reebok, we were unlucky to go down. But now it was a great time, great period in the club's history, without a doubt.
How was Coyle as a player? Because we've had lads on who've played under him, and they just say he was a live wire, lively in the dressing room, lively on the pitch, run all day. Did he used to commentate on his own shooting drills?
I loved it.
Coyle.
He did. You know, I used to, when we used to do drills, I used to be Peter With when I was a kid, even though I can't head the fucking ball. I don't know why I was Peter With, but Coyley was always Coyley, like, you know what I mean? To be fair, he weren't a bad head tennis player. He was a better head tennis player than he was a footballer, Coyley. But
what are you going to be today? I'm going to be Owen Coyle, aren't I?
yeah. Unbelievable. But he weren't bad at head tennis, Coyley, but chirpy, man. Never shut up. But he was always the driver on the night out. He didn't drink, Coyley, so always had his cans of full fat Coke.
No, I'm bro.
No, he was a Coca-Cola man, I think. Aye. Seen him on the telly the other week when he was, whatever job he had, and he's thinking, how's he so fat? He doesn't even drink. You know what I mean? But no, he was a live wire in the dressing room, Coyley.
Would Phil Brown get some stick with his tan? Because he was always well tanned, wasn't he?
I like the sunbed, but I think he might have been a bit natural as well, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I loved the sun. He had a sunbed in the house, Brownie.
One of them that go over the bed.
One of them that you stand up when you finish with it.
The green goggles.
Yeah. I love the sunbed, Brownie.
You know. Just sums him up that. He's got his own sun. He's got a sunbed. I don't like him, mate.
That was before sunbeds were around.
Yeah.
Did you play for him? Did you ever it all?
Yeah.
Well, you weren't playing in the game when he made a tit of himself.
Oh, no. But I enjoy watching him crumble after that.
It was a strange thing to do, wasn't it, that one?
Thing is, it's just typical him. All about him, innit?
Yeah.
You know, to make a bit of a fucking scene for himself and get his Senate press.
Yeah.
But
he'd often do things, Brownie, wouldn't he, to try and get a reaction off people. One of them was, we'd been on a night out in Manchester, and again, it was Brownie, McGinley, Aidan Davison and myself. I was driving at the time. Because it was in Manchester, there was an awards gig on. And I said, I'll drive. I had a little Fiesta XR2i at the time. I thought I was the bollocks. Little white thing. Bought it off Fran's car. Franzy car. And anyways, we go to this do. They're having a drink in the afternoon. It was a Boddington's do at one of the hotels in Manchester. Canton I won the main award, but John McGinley had won one of the monthly awards, so we got invited through John. So they've had a good scoop, and they were on Deansgate in Manchester. Brownie being Brownie. He's chipping away at Aidan Davison, chipping away, and I'm thinking, big shake, he's getting a bit angry here. He'll either give him a right hand or something's going to kick off. And anyways, Brownie was chipping away, and Aidan's going, goalkeeper should earn what outfield players earn, blah, blah, blah. And Brownie was just trying to get a reaction off him. Next thing, big Aidan just picks a bar stool up, whizzes it through a window. Aye, well, we got locked up. Busy's come Nick, we get locked up in Bootle Street Police Station in Manchester. I'm sober. No, McGinley was outside in a phone box trying to find. He was trying to find out if he was in the Scotland squad. Right? So he just missed it. McGinn, me, Aidan, and Brownie got locked up in Bootle Street Police Station. Aidan's pissing in the back of the police van when we're on the way to the station, and I'm thinking, what's going? I've got my feet up like that, trying not to get pissed. And anyways, we got locked up for the night, and had to try and explain that to the manager the next day, but he'd already knew. It was on the front page of the Bolton Even News, so caused trouble. But it was Brownie. It was Brownie who instigated it all, you know what I mean?
Chipping.
And I'm thinking, I'm sober, I shouldn't be getting locked up here, but we didn't anyways.
It's a good alibi, that, innit? Being the phone box. I was on the phone.
The thing is, when the letters out in the morning, it was a rush to get to training. We got black ties on as well, so we hadn't even got time to go and get changed. We had to turn up in my whistles. At least I was sober, but my car had been clamped. We had parked my car overnight, it was clamped. So then I had to try and sort that out. I'm thinking, I couldn't get any worse. Then when I went in the gaffer's office, he just pulled the Bolton Even News out after training. He already had it. Oh, no. So he went through as like a dose of salts, but blame Brownie.
I can just imagine.
I don't even blame Aidan for throwing the bar stool through the window. I blame Brownie.
when you turn around corner and see car clamped and you're there in suit, pissy shoes,
And you're in a
pissy
hurry.
shoes.
Yeah, it's got to be a
It's
train.
9:30 in the morning.
I thought you were going to say through fucking fell through the window.
Or he could have done the big fella if he wanted.
Any fines for that?
Oh yeah,
fight?
we got fined. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think he hit us all with a week.
Would that have been Colin Todd or
That was Bruce.
Bruce?
That was Bruce. Yeah, but typical McGinley, he got away with it. He was in the phone box ringing, trying to get in touch with Craig Brown, so he was in the Scotland squad. Because at the time, mobile phones weren't really about.
Yeah.
First person I seen with a mobile phone was Mickey Quinn. It was like the size of this table, yeah, man. So they weren't really popular then, mobile phones. So I think he read the script and just thought, I'm going to go to the phone box and make an excuse. He watched us get through in the back of the police van, McGinn, as well. So, fucking hell, yeah, one of them. See you later, lads.
Time to go.
Yeah.
He didn't even put any more money in meter, lazy bastard. I always ask about Sasa Serchik. Any lads who played with him?
Sasa was he was a talented lad, but when he first signed, man, he must have come over from wherever he come over from and just had the same gear until he got paid. And then all of a sudden he's coming in Versace underpants and matching socks and everything, Larry. But good player, Sasa. Nice kid. And then he got a great move to Villa, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. You being a Bolton fan, you must have loved watching him.
Oh, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he's like there's videos of him. Like he was in Serbian Big Brother. I think he won it, and there's videos
Really?
of him like in the street raving with his car turned up full blast. He was a bit,
What, recent?
yeah, he was a bit off the wall, wasn't he?
Last time I seen him, he was face down asleep in a hotel corridor a few years ago, playing a charity match at the Reebok.
Yeah.
Aye. Before it was the Macron, it was the Reebok still, and we'd had a night out, and I'm going back to my hotel room. He was just on the floor, face down, asleep in the hotel corridor. So he had a good night, I think. It's normally the other way around.
How long was it before you started thinking that you could get a move?
At Bolton.
Yeah.
Well, when I was breaking in the team and what have you, Stubbsy, Alan Stubbs and Jason McAteer, they were getting a bit of attention through big clubs, Liverpool, Arsenal, Everton, Blackburn at the time were paying big money. So there was always scouts at the games. So they were always going to get a move before me. They'd played a lot more games, but probably come to attention of they probably keep an eye on you and what have you. So it's probably the season in the Premiership, the last season, but we got relegated at Chelsea last game of the season, and I knew there'd been a lot of people there during that season, and I'd done all right. I think I scored about 12 or 13 goals from midfield, so obviously didn't want to get relegated, but it was in the back of my mind, if we get relegated and get a chance of a move, I don't really want to go back to the Championship. I was probably 23 at the time, probably played a couple hundred games at Bolton and wanted the opportunity to probably go on and play back in the Premiership, you know.
But you were happy. You're playing consistently, doing well.
No, Bolton was
one of them,
brilliant.
innit?
If Bolton had stayed up, I possibly could have stayed for another season or two, without a doubt, yeah. But it was just the fact that we'd gone down, and I'd spoke to Colin Todd, was then the manager, and they'd paid 250 grand for us as a young lad from Newcastle, and they ended up selling us for 4.75. So I think they were happy, and I was happy with the profit that they made, and time to move on to different things, you know.
How was Gregory? Because he seems Phil Brown-esque in terms of
Chocolate.
chocolate.
I was a bit like that. Obviously, don't want to go too much into it, but because there's a lot in the book type of thing. But a lot of it was about him, and I think we'd won the first 10 or 11 games of my first season and beat a club record. And we played Southampton at the Dell to break the record and won. And he got us all on the pitch. Not like what you were saying before, Parky. Huddersfield hadn't lost in 50 odd games, and then you signed and they lost the next two. It's typical, innit? Would won us. I don't know if it was the first 11 or 12 games at Villa, and then the game we broke the record. He got us all together with the staff on the pitch at the Dell, the old Southampton ground, a big picture. We lost the next game. You know what I mean? It was one of them that did you need to do it type of thing. It come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
So that epitomised what he was about, really. It was one of them. Was sitting in the dressing room after the game. Shouldn't have done that photo, really. Do you know what I mean? Do it after the run's ended. You know, not while it's still going. So yeah, that was Greg's.
Big characters though. Big Dion, Southgate.
Aye, big Hugo. God rest him. Hugo Etiog. Great around the dressing room. pain in the arse in the hotel night before having your dinner and that. He'd send his food back. It was never good enough. His brother was a chef, so Big Hugo was one of them. That steak's not done. I get it back, and then he'd send it back 3 or 4 times. Big Hugues, God bless him. But no, it was David Ginola, Paul Merson, David James, Benito Carbone. There was some absolute Fruit Loops. There was some
Yeah, I was
Fruit
gonna
Loops.
say.
Bosnich. I mean, there's some crackerjacks in that dressing room. There was.
Fuck me.
Gary Charles, you know Charlo.
Right back.
Yeah. There was some lunatics in that dressing room, Villa. I mean, some proper egos. Yeah. Remember being pre-season, we were in Lisbon, played Benfica, and the day after the game, the gaffer said, "Oh, you can have the day off, go down the beach, have a few drinks, get a bite to eat." So we're all sat around a couple of big tables, and some of the names you just mentioned there, like David Ginola's there, and David's getting the centre of attention. The women are coming up, photographs. He's doing the lot. You know, the hairs. Everyone knows who David is, even in Portugal.
We were just like on his shoulder, just trying.
I was waiting
Flick
for the
on,
knockdown. I was picking the bits up, mate. I'm picking the bits up. I'm sat next to him. Do you know what I mean? But some of the lads couldn't handle it. Some of the big hitters, Merce and Bosnich, Gareth weren't too bad because Gareth didn't have that big an ego. But some of them, David James, they didn't like the attention that David was getting, and they kind of squared the bill up and done one. I just thought, fuck it, I'm man marking David for the night. I'm not leaving. Yeah, so David had his little disciples behind him, me and Steve watching Steve Stone, Gareth Southgate. Because the only way we were going to pull a bird was with David.
That's shit, that, isn't it? That's shit from them, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like,
just that's what some people are like, doing it. You know, it's just, but us being the young lads, yeah, David, like, was a god to me.
our incredible Warrie player, Ginola.
David,
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, I was lucky to play with a couple of players who each foot was as good as the other. Beardsley being one. Peter was brilliant player, and 2 brilliant feet. A lad called Lubo Moravcek, who you probably haven't heard of, played for Celtic, who Zidane said he's the best player he ever played with. So if Zidane said that, you think, wow, I think that was it, Marseille, where he played with Lubo. But David was the same. You'd say, are you left-footed or right-footed? You didn't know. Well, I was just out and out, left-footed. Not sure what you were.
I was no-footed.
In the air. Chest
Just
and
in the
made
chest.
off.
Not
No,
his feet.
but Ginola was one of them where you just, in training, you'd think, he hadn't got a weak foot. He was one of them. So talented, But Beardsley and Moravcek were the same. Did you see much of Beardsley when he played for Bolton?
Yeah.
I don't think he played an awful lot. It was towards the end.
He was right at the back end of his career.
Yeah,
Wasn't it? That must have been, for you personally, like I mean, it was someone you admired.
Well, I knew
growing
I
up.
knew him from the northeast. He's from Wallsend,
Yeah.
as I'm from, so I knew Peter, and obviously grew up watching him as a kid at Newcastle in that Keegan team. Great success, and to play with him at Bolton was brilliant. He still had it, but I don't think he's seen eye to eye with the manager at the time, Colin Todd.
Yeah.
I think it was vice versa. One didn't like the other, and the other didn't like the other one. So
I bet you never rung round Peter Beardsley on a night out, did you, for the knockdown?
yeah, absolutely bang on. I don't think he ever had a night out with him, Peter. No, I don't think he was out. No. Yeah.
How did Gregory handle that? We talked about the loose cannons. Did he struggle with big?
He liked to fag as well, David, didn't he?
David loved one. Yeah.
So would he, like Chris said, would he just let it slide because he was so good?
Who, David?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he's one of them who'd go in the dressing room and have a fag at half time. Where I've played with players who just walk in the dressing room and have one in the
It's more common
in the
than you
toilet.
think.
Like, it is more common, but Greg struggled a bit with the big hitters, in my opinion.
No, didn't like confrontation, or
no, not really. He'd try and avoid it if he could avoid it. Yeah. Obviously, he had like Mercy at the manage, who was obviously difficult to manage. Merce.
Would he just give him free rein? Because we speak a lot about lads who are so good, but they kind of could be a problem. You know, like the teammates might be like, "How's he getting away with that?" But the manager gives them a better.
He wouldn't like Bruce Riot. Anyone stepped out the line, he didn't give a shit if it was his main man or not his main man. A young lad playing for the reserves, he'd hit them hard. Whereas Greg's give some of the big hitters, in my opinion, a bit of leeway. We'd be going out at 10:25 to start at 10:30, and Bosnich would be just getting out his car, strutting in. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, hold on, you know. all the same. We've all got the same rule sheet we've signed type of thing. So
Yeah.
I struggled with some of the. He just let them do what they wanted, basically.
But I can't imagine Dion and Gareth Southgate taking too kindly to it either, though. letting
No,
them-
not really.
no.
But it was one of them. He was the manager, and I think he had rules for others that rather than everyone off the same hymn sheet. He let a few get away with it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think it can work that.
No,
I don't think
that's maybe why it didn't. That's maybe why it didn't work, because we had a squad capable of doing good things, and that's maybe why we didn't. We did finish in the top 4, but we got beaten in the FA Cup final off Chelsea in 2000. That's maybe why that Villa team didn't win anything.
Can we stand?
Stan was great, big Stan. Now we haven't even mentioned Stan when we're talking about characters, have we? Stan was great for me when I first went there. He was one of the ones who put his arm round us and looked after us, if you want.
Was he Marmite?
Who, Stan? I think he come across as he was, but then when you got to know him, he was quite a deep thinker and quite a bright lad,
Because we do get a mixed bag of lads
Yeah.
that they've played with him.
Well, you do, don't you? You get a mixed bag on everyone,
Because him and JMO didn't get on, did they? I know they didn't at Liverpool. I don't know.
I don't know. I think Stan was outspoken and he would say what he wanted, and when he wanted, he didn't give a shit. Some days, I love training. I hate being injured. Stan would come out some days and he might not fucking break into a sweat type of thing. Well, I hate that personally because I like to run around and stuff like that. But when Stan wanted to train or Stan wanted to play, Stan was unplayable. Left foot, right foot, quick, strong. He had everything. But it was when Stan wanted to do it type of thing. And you just think, to have that talent to be able to do that, switch it on and off. He could switch it on and off. And if he didn't fancy it, he didn't fancy it.
I think they're the most frustrating ones, me.
Yeah.
You just think, fuck me, just try.
Aye.
Just try today for us, eh?
As a fan, all you want to see, you can probably accept people make mistakes. We don't make mistakes on purpose. But when you see players going on the pitch, whether they're earning 100 quid a week or 10 grand a week or 20 grand a week or 30, you just want to see, as a fan, effort, don't you?
Yeah.
When I watched Newcastle as a kid, we had some shit players. Growing up, you're thinking, how are they professional footballers? But they roll their sleeves up and they dig in. And I think as a fan, watching a football team, you just want your players to give it all. And when they've got a talent, to see it wasted, like you say, or not wasted, but not utilised, it's frustrating.
Frustrating,
Isn't it?
yeah.
Did many of them characters clash? You see any scraps on the training pitch?
I think you get scraps wherever you go, don't you?
Yeah.
I remember having a scrap at Bolton with my brother-in-law, Dave Lee. Remember little Didsy?
Yeah.
Didsy was my brother-in-law. Back then he was. He's divorced now. I'm divorced now, but we still keep in touch. But me and him had a scrap. Probably unfair, because I'm 6 foot and he's 5'1".
Pick your target.
He's about your height. So I think you get scraps everywhere, don't you? Fucking hell.
Did you take the win?
I jumped on his back from behind.
Oh,
I had a little one of them, you know what I mean?
So you're going into the next week undefeated,
He
aren't you?
wanted a rematch, but I wasn't having it. It was toe to toe.
Undefeated. 1 from 1.
I'll have to put that on my medical form for the fight. Yeah. Says, have you had any previous fights? I'll have to hide that one in. Yeah.
So when you moved on from Villa, obviously Celtic, was there interest in England?
Yeah, there was one or two, but I think when Celtic come in, I knew a couple of lads who were at Celtic at the time, good mates, and Martin ONeill was the manager, just gone in. He'd already signed Chris Sutton from Chelsea. I spoke to Martin before I went to Villa when he was Leicester manager. So he tried to take us to Leicester. So when he tried to take us to Celtic, it was a no-brainer for me to go up there and sample that, yeah.
That's fair play to him, because some managers would have thought, I tried signing him and he's gone somewhere else, fuck him.
Yeah, yeah.
Some stubborn bastards.
It just shows you the type of bloke he is, though. He was brilliant. And I think he was pretty pissed off when I didn't go to Leicester. But obviously there was other clubs in at the time for us, and I chose obviously to go to Villa. But then when he got the job at Celtic and I seen what he was doing, then speaking to him and told us what his plans were, and then I thought, wouldn't mind being a part of that. And it was
That'd be good for you.
best
I
decision
imagine.
I ever made, Yeah.
Him coming back in for you, thinking, do you know what? He must really like me.
I think it
Come back in.
was probably him and his assistant John Robertson. who's his number 2 when he was at Leicester and Celtic and wherever, Villa after that, and Robbo went everywhere with him. I think Robbo quite fancied us as well, so he probably pushed it and said, this kid's struggling at Villa, let's have a go back at him, and it did, thankfully, and it worked out great for me.
Did he let Robertson take all the training and stuff?
No, Robbo didn't do any training, no.
All right.
I'll be brutally honest with you. He'd do crosswords and play pool and have a bit of banter, that was it. But I think
there's a place for them type of coaches, though, isn't there?
He was like Martin's sounding board. He had a good eye for a player. He was the link man between the manager and the dressing room. He was always in and out. You know, if we wanted anything to get back to the gaffer, we'd tell Robbo. We knew it would get back. He wasn't grassing. We'd feed him things like, we're not happy with the shape we're playing. I think we should go 4-3-3 and all that. So he's actually done me forward for me book, Martin ONeill, and I'd not give him too much away, but he actually says in the forward to me book, I actually listen to Tomo more than I fucking let on. So, but Robbo was like the link man between the manager and the players, and Steve Walford done most of the coaching. Martin wouldn't particularly get involved in the coaching either. It was Steve Walford who'd done the majority of it. Yeah,
I'd be blaming somebody else, though. I'd be like, Stubbsy says we should play 4-3-3. Don't shoot the messenger, but Stubbsy's not happy.
No, but I think he quite liked the fact that there'd be a group of us sit with Robbo, because we'd sit together quite often. Myself, Sutty, Lenny, Jackie McNamara, Big John Hartson. We'd all be sitting either having a game of cards or just having a coffee the night before a game in a hotel, and we'd just drop things in that we needed. And you guarantee it would get back.
It'd be a touch if we got a couple of days off him, wouldn't it?
All that kind of stuff got dropped. I mean, he was one of those, Martin. I think the old school bit like Cloughie, that he was, if you needed a day off, he'd give you 3 days off, like, you know. And when he lost it, he'd give it the old, but you fucking properly. He knew he was angry when he'd done that. Come on, what the fuck? Stop trying to thread the fucking eye of a needle. Just fucking pass it wide. So you knew when he'd done that with his hand, he was fucking raging. So,
Is he scratching his
nose?
It
was just a thing he used to do. He'd put his hand in, he'd go, Tomo. Or Lenny. It was normally Lenny or Tomo that got it, like, you know. So, but he was brilliant. He didn't lose his rag very often, but when he did, you knew you were in an argument.
Did you, when you got to Celtic, was it bigger than you thought?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I knew all about them. A lot of my family are Catholics, and I'd been to testimonials down in England that they played in. Jimmy Phillips is at Bolton Wanderers, they played in that. Beardsley's they played in. So I'd seen the fans travelling just for a testimonial game. And I knew it was big. Stubbsy was already there, who I'd played with at Bolton. Tommy Johnson was already there, who I knew from the northeast. So I used to get this. John McGinley used to harp on about it. He was a big Celtic fan. Andy Walker was at Bolton, always harped on it. Owen Coyle was a Celtic fan. So I got all this Celtic stuff from all these lads who knew all about it. So it was just, you didn't realise until you got in the door. And then it was phenomenal. The media attention, not just on Celtic, Rangers. It's just like, no disrespect to the other clubs, but what are they right about Celtic and Rangers? So you were under the microscope all the time. Massive, massive club. And then when you start travelling the world pre-season, whether it's Australia, New York, America, anywhere, Far East, Celtic fans everywhere. Just phenomenal. I mean, I can walk down the street, whether it's here in Manchester, Newcastle, Bolton. I very rarely get recognised if I'm out and about anywhere. If I go to Glasgow, it's a different kettle of fish. Or if I'm on holiday, you won't get a Bolton fan or a Newcastle or a Villa fan saying, "Oh, he used to play for Newcastle." It's always a Celtic fan who'll recognise you because they're just everywhere. It's phenomenal. Isn't it? It's phenomenal. Really
so
is.
If we're having a night out in Glasgow, I need to be stood next to you then,
Not for the knockdowns, no. I'll get you in anywhere you want. I'll get you in anywhere you want, Parky. Just give us a text, no bother. No, but it is. It's a different level. It really is, aye.
Could you go out in the city?
Yeah, you'd go out. You'd have to be careful where you went out, but you'd definitely go out, aye. But you just had to be careful where you went. And I wasn't one of those go out after an Old Firm game, go out because you've won. I'd go out if we'd lost as well, because I think if you're prepared to go out when you've won, you've got to be prepared to go out when you've lost as well. I wasn't one of those who hid away, because you've got to get that happy medium. Because if people see you out celebrating because you've won an Old Firm game, they're going to go, aye. Where was he when they got beat the last one or whatever? So I tended to keep a happy medium and just go out regardless, you know.
Win or lose.
Unless it was a red card, then I'd fucking hide.
It's one of them. When you sign, could go either way. You know, if you start struggling, obviously massive club, big expectations, but you won the treble in the first year.
Yeah.
That must have took the edge off for you.
The first season was a good season. I mean, I think they lost the league the season before Martin come in by 15 points, which is a massive difference in a title race. And then Martin come in and they won it by 18 points. So that's a massive turnaround, losing by 15 to winning it by 18. So it was a great first season. And obviously, he signed Chris Sutton. Then he signed myself, Didier Gat. Lenny comes in, John Hartson comes in. So for Celtic, you know, big money signings. Chris was 6 million, Lenny was 5.5 million, John was 5 million. So there was, you know, they're bringing big players in from the Premiership who were tried and tested at that level, you know. So it was a good time.
Did you find it easier?
No, it was really tough, as hard as that says, because the standard isn't what we were used to week in the Premiership. But although the standard wasn't good, the intensity was ridiculous because they're playing against Celtic. Whether it's at Celtic Park, it's sitting 10 behind the ball, got to break them down. It's tough to do, no matter who you're playing against. And then when you're playing away games, whether it was Motherwell, Dundee United, Inverness, Aberdeen, just the intensity of the games. It's their cup final.
Yeah.
I used to say it was a bit like if you're playing for a Premier League club or, you know, a top club, going away early January, third round of the FA Cup. It's their cup final, you know, third round of the FA Cup, and it's a giant killing, you know, opportunity for them. So even every away game, like, they were just tough. They might not have had the quality players that we had, the Larsons, the Suttons, the Petrovs, the Lamberts and stuff like that, but you knew you were going to be in for a tough game. You just didn't get any easy games. Yeah. So the intensity was ridiculous. Yeah.
How was Lambert as a player?
Good player. Listen, you don't win the Champions League with Dortmund playing in the team that he played in if you're average. Just a bit boring at times, you know, like talking about Germany all the time. Adidas boots and BMWs and Mercedes and all that. You know what I mean? No, he was a good skipper, Lambo, and he was a great pro and good for young lads to look at and see how he goes about his day-to-day business. You know, thought he was the main man on the pool table, but he wasn't. I was. Him and Henrik used to give it the big one, but I was the main man at pool.
Shows the effect ONeill had on his players, because I think I've said before, he was my manager at Blackburn and he used to do so many things that ONeill used to do. Mm-hmm. It was just a carbon copy. Yeah. Even to the point with his collar up and that.
We used to have a bit of banter with him.
Did he do that?
He didn't do that one.
You don't speak Irish. I did. He used to, with his collars and stuff like that, and tuck his bottoms into his socks and all that.
That's all come from Clough.
Yeah.
I probably has.
Knock on.
Yeah.
Named 18. To walk in the changing room, nobody knew if they were playing. He would just name 18 names as fast as he could. Yeah. And then walk out. And we were like, are we on the bench? Am I playing?
Did he never do any shape or anything like that, Lambo?
He did. He did a bit. He was pretty hands-on.
Yeah.
But you could just see that there was a lot of ONeill in him.
Aye. Well, I think, like, we at Celtic, we didn't really do anything like shape or drills where it was 10v8 defenders, you know, 10 attackers, 8 defenders, shape, break them down type of thing. It was kind of like, we did have better players than the majority. Probably Rangers had quality as well, but he kind of left it down to us, just to the quality in the team, you know. You've got Sutton and Henrik up front. I'm not really sure you could coach them what they had. It was just instinct of being good players and awareness and stuff like that, movement, little overs and gimmies and, you know, give and goes and stuff. So we didn't really work on shape or anything. It was just basically him making us feel good about ourselves before we went into games.
Tell us about the old firm, them games.
Oh, it starts the week before from when the game before finishes. So you finish on Saturday, let's say, for instance, we're playing Rangers the following Saturday morning or Sunday morning. It was just the build-up of the week. The level went up in training. The media interest was just there until you pull up outside the ground, whether it was at Ibrox or Celtic Park. The crowds were there and it was just ridiculous. The nerves were going, the adrenaline's going. It just sucks you in. I think I played in 26. Did get 3 red cards at Ibrox, so I probably did get sucked in on a couple. I'm not saying there were,
One for a vicious
I'm not
headbutt
saying
there.
there were 3 red cards. Vicious headbutt. But just the intensity, it was unbelievable. The games were quality, and I mean the Rangers team back then was full of good players as well. You know, Michael Mols, Ronald De Boer, Barry Ferguson, Undr Flo. You know, just quality players. You know. So there were great occasions if you won. But if you lost, it was just not good.
Imagine like the foreign lads coming in, just not knowing like what the fuck's this all about. You know, at least you know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
It's a big game, innit?
Yeah.
But imagine a foreigner coming in for the first time and experiencing that.
Aye, it's phenomenal. If anyone, I mean, I was lucky enough to be one of the few who played in them, but even like people who are fans of football, if you get a chance to go to one, whether it's at Celtic Park or whether it's at Ibrox, got to take up the opportunity, because I don't know if it's lost a bit at the minute because they're not allowing opposition fans in.
Yeah.
I think they chopped it to something like 500 or 750, and then they've even chopped it down to none now. I think the last one at Ibrox, they didn't let any Celtic fans in. So I wouldn't really fancy going to Ibrox just with 50,000 Rangers fans there. I think it defeats the object of a derby. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've both played in derbies yourselves, and derbies are about having 2 sets of opposition fans. I know the intensity of an Old Firm game is a different ballpark to most derbies, but just you want the banter in the ground, don't you?
Yeah.
And for it to be just 50,000 at Ibrox or 60,000 at Celtic Park, or just Celtic fans, you know. And Rangers fans come to Celtic Park once, and I'm taking a corner next to the Rangers fans there. It's 2 tiers, Celtic Park. Fucking spuds coming from the top level as I'm going to take, and I'm talking about jacket spuds. They're like,
Proper.
honestly, because they're taking the piss out the Irish potato famine
Yeah.
back hundreds of years ago. So they're throwing potatoes in. If one of them hits me on the lid, even though I've got a massive coop on, I'm out the game. Even if one hits Parky on the head, it's game over. You know what I mean? Honestly, I'm not joking. I ran past the 18-yard box because the potatoes were just raining down on us. I'm just lucky I didn't want it, because if one hit, I was in trouble. Yeah? Probably like one of Simon Webb's left hooks.
Imagine patting down. What's that in your pocket? Oh, it's just a tatty. I bet it's the fucking £2 of Jersey Royals.
Oh, man, unbelievable.
Do you live next door to Rickson? Is that right?
It was like one of these estates, you know, like these new estates that
Yeah.
knock up new builds. There was loads of people on there. Kenny Dalglish had one on there at the time. I was on there. I just signed. Chris Sutton was on there. Tommy Johnson was on there. Johan Mialbi was on there. Morton Vicost was on there. So they were just the Celtic lads. And then you had like Tommy Johnson was on there. And then you had the Rangers lads. You had Undr Flo, Ronald De Boer, Rickson, Craig Moore, Dick Advocat, the Rangers manager at the time. So on this big estate, I mean, there was hundreds of houses, like, but on this estate, there must have been 20 connections with the old firm. So it got interesting at times.
So when I saw shouting through letterboxes, is that
Yeah,
right?
Rickson, he come with fireworks and he's bull mastiff and all that. So we'll not go too much into that. There's a big piece on that in the book.
Well, did this have a little local pub then, this estate?
No, it would have been a taxi ride away.
I'm just thinking, is there like a Celtic players' corner and a Rangers players' corner in a local pub? Did you say hello to him?
No, but in the area we lived, there was obviously places you go, restaurants and stuff like that, and most of the time you'd end up saying hello to them, like, you know. I socialised a little bit with Ronald De Boer because he lived right opposite us, and he was funny, Ronald. He was just, you know, we'd go training a bit like this, wouldn't you? Every now and again you just go casual, don't you? And a trackie. Not Ronald. He was like immaculate every day, Gucci, Prada. See him going to training. I'm thinking, where's he going on a night out or what? No, just going training. But no, with more often than not, it was all right with most of them. But then Fernando coming around with a bull mastiff and all that, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have minded having to roll around on the garden with him, but I'm not rolling around with that dog, man. There's plenty on Fernando in the book, God rest him. I know he's passed away now, but he was a terrific player, but he was a character.
One of these bullet points here just says Sutton, pubes in wallet.
Should I tell story. That was funny because Sutty lived about 4 or 5 doors up from me, and my ex-wife and Sutty's wife Sam, they were really pally. You know what wags are like? They don't like doing much graft, do they? They want cleaners, they want ironing ladies and stuff. So there was a lad, Bruce, used to come and pick the ironing up and take all the ironing away, take it to the girls who used to iron it, and then he'd bring it back all hanged and pressed and stuff like that, folded. And I said to Bruce one day, he was picking the ironing up, and I knew he was picking Sutty's up after. I went, Bruce, get the girls who were doing the ironing to put creases in Sutty's jeans. Sutty was off a paraffin lamp, to be fair. He just had one pair of trainers for jeans, one pair for like a tracksuit on a match day, and one pair for a Prada Sports or whatever, and he'd just wear it with a suit until then, walking the dogs. And then when them were wrecked, he'd buy another pair, but he'd just wear the same pair all the time, so he's off a tramp. But I said to Bruce, I went, just iron creases in his jeans. And I forgot all about it. And then one day, a couple of days later, he comes into training, walks in the dressing room. We used to get changed at Celtic Park, take our cars up to the training ground. And he comes in and he's got his Prada Sport trainers on, and he's got his jeans, and his jeans have got creases pressed in the front of them. Well, we start ripping shit out of him, taking the piss and all that. And it wasn't just me, like the lads, but he knew it was me who stitched them up. So didn't think anything of it, like. And then after training, there'd be me, Sutty, a few of the lads who lived up in the estate where we used to live, Tommy, if he was still there, Johan, and we'd go and have a bowl of pasta in this place called Andy Ammo up in Newton, towards Newton Men's. And on the way back to Andy Ammo, I need petrol in my car. So I think, I'll nip in the garage, past the garage on the way to the restaurant. I think I'll stop and get some petrol. So I fills the motor up, and then I goes to the counter to pay, like, and I get my wallet out, and there's a woman in front of us, she pays, and then it's me next. There's a woman stood behind us, quite fit. She had her whappers out and all that. You know, I've already clocked her when she was filling her car up with petrol. I think, not bad. And anyway, she stood behind us, and I opened my wallet on the counter. So there's the counter. And I opened my wallet like that to get my card out. And there was just a bundle of pubic hair in my wallet, right? And it just fell onto the counter in the petrol station. It fell onto the counter. The girl behind the desk's like, she clocks what it is straight away. The woman behind us is like seeing what I've, like, honestly, like, she's seeing it, and I'm like that, rushing onto the floor trying to get my credit card in the machine, and I knew Big Sutty just shaved these bollocks and took all the hair and put it in my wallet and put it in my jeans. So yeah, that was because I stitched them up with the creases in his jeans. So it was that kind of dressing room, like, you couldn't get away with anything, but that was embarrassing.
It's worked perfectly for him, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's worked the
That
killer.
couldn't have done any better.
I think he must have thought I'd have got my wallet out when we'll go to pay in the restaurant, but he's done us even more of a kipper. If he'd done us in the restaurant in front of the lads, then that would have been funny. But the fact he got us on my own in front of people in a petrol station, absolutely done us a kipper.
They're a different area, aren't they? You can tell.
Yeah, oh yeah, Sean Curley,
You can
yeah.
tell. I mean, well, there's some chewing gum underneath the till you just brushed into chewing gum.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if it was my own, it would have been bad enough. The fact it was his, you know, it was just nightmare.
fair play. I bet he fuck about with the ironing again.
Oh no, never. That was it. But I did tell it. I'd done a podcast with Simon Ferry. Do you know Simon Ferry? Is it Open Goal? I think, I'm not sure. I'd done it, and anyways, and he asked us about that story, Simon, and I told him. Anyway, so he rang us up. He went, Tom, what are you doing saying that? I went, it's only a bit of banter, son. He went, yeah, but I do a bit for BT and BBC, and so he seen his arse a little bit with us, but it was all light-hearted banter. You know, hopefully it didn't affect him in any way, shape, or form.
We're doing it up again now.
Well, no, I'd done something with him before COVID up in Scotland, and he turned around to us and he went, by the way, you can tell that story tonight if you want, as you've already fucking told it to everyone. So,
Thing is, she probably still tells that story now. Your name will pop up and she go, I was behind him in a petrol station and he had pubes in his wallet. Randomly.
They weren't even, mine are red. But,
Fair play to him. Quick piss break.
Yeah. How good was Emmerich? Must be one of the best.
phenomenal. He was just a natural athlete as well. Like, I remember him, just before I got there, he just got fit from a compound fracture, leg fracture that he'd done away in Bordeaux the season before. And but when I was there, he got a bad cheek injury where it needed pinned and plated, so he missed, 6-8 weeks. He comes back in training, and it's like he's, if I get injured, I get like more than a month with a hamstring or something. takes me 2-3 games to get up to a level of fitness or get a bit of match sharpness. Henrik was just first day back in
Straight
training.
back.
No fear about heading the ball, no fear about putting his head in.
Yeah.
Just lean, fit. But then apart from that, his movement, ridiculous. His finishing, his leap. Just, me as a wide man, my job was easy because he'd make fucking shit crosses look good crosses, do you know what I mean? Whereas John Hartson, you literally had to put it on the money. You had to, like, partying, he was in a dustbin lid and he wasn't moving out of that dustbin lid, do you know what I mean? So you had to be pinpoint.
Yeah.
Whereas with Henrik, you'd have like a 10-yard fucking margin.
Yeah.
Put it anywhere in that margin and Henrik's getting on the end of it. So he was phenomenal.
Good lad as well.
Great lad. I loved his golf, loved the beer. Just a real good lad. Miserable fucker at times if it wasn't going his way. Didn't really like people having a pop with him. I remember one day Martin had a pop with him at Dundee United and told him to hold the ball up. What? Henrik, hold the fucking ball up. You know, that one of them ones, like, you know. But Henrik didn't like that. But he was just some of the
He gets you that one, doesn't he? Like the Martin O'Neill impression.
some of the times he bailed us out when we played shit and he'd just do something and you think he's won with the game basically. And it was just, it happened regular where he'd bail you out, yeah. Phenomenal. And I think if you ask any of the lads who played with him at Celtic, or even I don't know any of the lads who he played with at United or Barcelona type of thing, I think they'd say the same about him. I think he was getting on money when he went to United and Barcelona, won the Champions League at Barcelona. And I think he was only at United a short time, but the punters loved him. You know, talking about work ethic and all that. He worked his bollocks off for the team. Even though he was gifted and talented, he was proper team player.
Did he have to do a bit of arts as running then as well for him?
All 10 of us had to do a bit of horses running. That's including the goalkeeper. The goalies often had fucking better match running, like stats for running in the match than Hearts. Our goalie would do more sprints than than fucking Big John. But,
You think it improved your delivery playing with Hartson? The fact that it had to be pinpoint.
You just knew it had to be on the money for the big fella, and
We had Sutton as well, though, didn't you? So a lot of time they played up front together, didn't they?
yeah. I mean, at times when Henrik played, but then there was times when Big John was in form, Martin would find a place in the team for John and Henrik, and Sutty would drop in one bit deeper.
Yeah.
So, you know, the three of them were quality in their own ways. You knew what Henrik was, you knew what Chris was, and you knew what John was. Probably the three best strikers Celtic's had in the history at the club in one time. They've had great strikers over the years, but at any one given time to have them three. People thought Big John was just a lump, but technically, you know, his touch and his finishing and his striking of the ball, his aerial ability. John was quality. Even, you know, 24 Mars bars like day before the game and stuff like that. He needed it.
7 years at Celtic, and you were the first Celtic player to get an England cap. Am I right in saying that? Did you ever think that because we were short of left-sided players at the time, did you ever think it hampered you a little bit with your chances playing for England?
I think it's the stereotype of Scottish football. Yeah. I think, you know, they think you're playing week in, week out against teams that aren't as good as what you'll be tested in the Premier League. But if you look at the Old Firm games, how intense and the quality of them, and then we were playing in Europe, whether it was Champions League or whether it was UEFA Cup runs, we were playing against quality teams. You know, you mentioned some of the teams in Europe. We played against Barcelona, Villarreal, Liverpool, Blackburn, Bayern Munich, Stuttgart at the time under Felix Magath, Juventus, AC Milan. We were playing big games, but I just think it was overlooked that you're week in, week out, you were playing in Scotland. And
did it frustrate you?
I didn't really bother. I didn't bother about it. I knew I was playing well. I knew I was playing in big games. I just thought I did get a cap. I did get called up once, but I thought it was a bit of a token gesture, if I'm honest, from Ericsson at the time. I just thought he wanted the press off his back because the press were making noises for us to get given a chance, and I just thought he thought, do you know what? Just give him a cap, and then that's it, done. And I thought that was how it worked. You
got your cap though. Nobody can take
that.
I got
my cap. I think he played Jamie Carragher left back behind us, and no disrespect to Jamie Carragher, he's a right-footed centre half in my opinion. Would have been better for me if we'd had a left back who was left-footed, who was a left back. I'm not making that as an excuse, but it wasn't ideal having the. I know he could play full-back, Jamie Carragher, but for me, he was a centre half, and would have been. I'd have preferred if you had maybe Ashley Cole or whoever was around at the time. I'd have loved him bombing past us to link up with. Do you know what I mean? So, although I loved obviously pulling the jersey on and playing for England, it was just that cap. I thought was just a bit of a token gesture. Like
you mentioned, Barca. Did Big Bobo have a tear up?
I had a tear up in a tunnel at Celtic Park with Big Motta, the centre half for. So he got they sent Rab Douglas off. They got mixed up. Bobo got involved, and I think the ref come in half time and said, "Can we have the two captains from Barcelona?" And Jackie McNamara was our captain. And Jackie kind of goes in the ref's office, and referee says, "Right, number 6 is off, and your number 1's off." What? Wasn't even number 1. He was splitting it up. It was Bobo who was getting involved with Motta, that type of thing. So Jackie Mack walks back in the dressing room and he goes, "Right, Big Rab, you're off." And then Martin does his thing. "You fucking what? What? It was one of them. Like, you know, it was one of them. Martin's like, and so we had to take someone off and put Magnus Hedman on, I think, at the time. So Big Bobo caused the tear up in the tunnel. But
big fucker as well, wasn't he?
So I think that was obviously 10v10. And then Saviola twatted me just after half time. So then he got sent off straight red. Done him a kipper, to be fair. He swung out at us and I jumped up as though he kicked us bad. It didn't hurt. And he got a straight red. So it was 10v9. Then it was like a game of basketball then. Imagine that, 10v9. You got in Xavi and Ronaldinho and all that and Eto. Holy shit. That's when you want it 11v11 because you need to keep the spaces more. But that was a proper Barcelona team. That.
Did you get a result?
We won 1-0, yeah. Do you not know that I scored? I was just checking. I thought you might have had that on your sheet. No, we won 1-0.
I've got pubes in wallet, but I haven't got your goal against Barcelona.
You've not got the winner against Barca. Okay, that's me claim to fame, that one.
So is obviously the Old Firm atmosphere, is that different to the European Cup night, Tuesday night lights, Wednesday night, whatever it is? Are they different atmospheres?
The Old Firm games, you sensed the friction, the tension, the hatred between the fans and the players got involved in that. And you know, people say to you when you're playing in big games as a player, they'll say, "Oh, it'll settle down. You know, see it through the first 15, 20 minutes, see it through, then it'll settle down." More often than not, an Old Firm game would be scrappy. You know, and it would take a mistake or a worldie or something like that for it to be decided. But the European games, the atmosphere was different in the stadium. It was an excitement, it was a buzz. Whereas the Old Firm games, there was a proper tension about it. And then obviously the European games, you played against some of the best players in the world in them games, some of the players you played against. So, but there was definitely a difference between the atmosphere between Old Firm and Europe. Yeah.
I mean, you said you did get sucked in, but did you? You know, the 3 red cards in Old Firm, was it just one of them things where
I think looking back on it, I probably did. And then when I went into the management coaching side of it, when Lenny was the manager and he took us in as first team coach, that would be my advice to the lads before the games. You know, don't get sucked in. You know, we ain't going to win an Old Firm game or many games with 10 men on the pitch. So that was my advice back to them, giving them a bit of learning from my mistakes. Don't do what I'd done because you're letting people down left, right, and centre. So. You can say I did get sucked in, certainly on maybe one occasion. I know I got 3 red cards, but I mean the headbutt's never a red card because I don't make contact. He goes down Lovencrantz like a bag of shit, gets done, straight red, which was for me not. And then another one, probably 2 yellow cards on Ferguson. 2 yellow cards, probably lack of discipline. And the other one I'm unsure about, but you can get sucked in without a doubt, and that was the advice I give when I was on the coaching side of it for Old Firm games. Just bite your tongue, be careful, stay on your feet, don't get roped in.
I know Fabregas was he made the headlines for throwing pizza at Ferguson, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did you have something with Mourinho? Lucasade or something?
It was a UEFA Cup final in 2003 in Seville. Yeah, we just conceded before half time, and we obviously going in at half time 1-0 down, disappointed, and he was piping up in the tunnel, Mourinho, like to someone. I don't know if it was officials or whether it was one of our players or someone, one of our staff. Anyways, it was a bit of a hoo-ha. It was a roasting hot night. I'm not sure the temperature, but it was warm. So got a drinks bottle, trying to get some fluids in before I go in the dressing room. You know, you're talking earlier about starting fights off and then doing one. That was when the hand grenade pin come out. I just got Mourinho like 6 feet away, just straight in his coat on.
The thing is, it comes out at pace as well. Them tight thingies.
Oh yeah, come when you properly go like that, it's coming out like one of them kids' water guns, like that. And anyways, it gets him like, and then obviously it kicks off properly then. So it's just a complete fracas, and I just do what I'm going to say. I'm sat in the dressing room like, I'm thinking, where the fuck's everyone? Where's everyone? Then everyone comes in the dressing room. You fucking started that, you, and you done one. I didn't. I just got in the dressing room, get some fluids in. But yeah, I've never bumped into Mourinho since. He'd probably want to give us one. But I did a damn
the shock of it hitting you in the face, you'd be fuming.
But like you say, they do come out quick.
Flyers.
They do. Mental,
It'd be
innit?
sticky afterwards,
Yeah.
won't it?
You can wipe it as much as you want, but you'll still have that.
You know, when you stickiness. Yeah.
It's a good one, that.
Had you moved on when Tommy Gravison came in?
No, I was there.
Yeah.
Although-
Could you do Tommy at pool? Because he was a bit
I
of a
didn't
shark.
play Tommy at pool.
No.
When Thomas come in, I was at the stage where I'd been like frozen out. No, when the manager says get over there and train with the kids, I was at that stage. So I wasn't really around the first team much then. So it was when Strachan come in after Martin O'Neill had left, and I was kind of getting pushed out the door. So I wasn't really. Although I'd obviously spoke to Thomas a few times because he's got a couple of pals who I know and stuff. So got on well with him, but he was a bit wild, wasn't he? A bit wild.
Did you have your own pool cue, by the way? Were you that good?
Aye. Well, it was my dad's. I used to nick them out my dad's locker in the snooker club. Yeah, but I had my own eye. Yeah, I was decent. I'm not just saying it. Can't believe it.
I believe you,
I know,
mate.
like if Lambo's watching this, Lambo will be saying, nah, you weren't the best, but I was. So.
So you say, was that the first time in your career where you've had that then? Where you've been frozen out? Where you
No, Villa as well. Towards the end at Villa, I was kind of, you know, when you're getting pushed out, don't you? You know when your time's up. So.
And how did you take that? How were you?
I was fine. I was great with it. Listen, I'd had 5 or 6 seasons already at Celtic, and most of them, 4 or 5 of them were good ones. And I knew I was coming to the end. Henrik had already gone. Sutty had gone. So it was kind of Martin O'Neill's team coming fizzling out, and Gordon wanting to bring in his own blood, which managers do that. I was 33. I was on a very good contract, and I just think that I had young lads coming through at the time, Sean Maloney, Aidan McGeady, and I just think they wanted me out the door, whether it was the wage bill or whether it was just get young kids through. So
Did you do it in a good way?
I moved on.
Did he speak to you about it, or was it that bit underhanded?
Gordon was all right with us. I'm not so sure who the chief executive was, but as I say, I go into detail in the book about it. It's not nice. It's not nice the way it ended. But it's one of those you've got to take on your chin, and I just wanted to get out and go and play, and I did. I went to Leeds. So
Did that tear your time at Celtic a bit? Or
not for me, it didn't. I think a lot of people probably thought, why did it happen like that? Why didn't you maybe get the send off you deserved and stuff like that? Because I'd been a good servant and enjoyed my time there and won lots of things. But as I said earlier, I go into it in a lot more detail in the book about the ins and outs and my opinions and how it was. Listen, it breaks you to leave a club that you've had such a good affiliation with. And even now, I do a lot of functions now when I bump into fans, and they're brilliant with us, and they ask us questions, why this, why that, buy the book. So no, it's I loved it, but it was hard at the end, and it was a pre-season. We were away in America, and he could tell I wasn't happy. Gordon Strachan, to be fair to him, he just said, look, I can see you're going through the motions type of thing. You know, you don't really want to be here. He said, listen, we'll get you a flight home if you wanted. I said, yeah, listen, we'd already played someone in Washington or somewhere like that the night before. I think he put us on for 4 minutes at the end, and it was kind of like, you know, deserve a bit better than that. Do you know what I mean? Putting us on for 4 minutes of a pre-season game. So whether or not he was trying to piss us off or what, I don't know. But the next day I flew back. Yeah.
How did the move to Leeds come about?
The chief scout at Leeds was a lad called Gwyn Williams, and he was like Ken Bates' right-hand man, if you want, Gwyn. But I was at Chelsea when I was 13. Went down to Chelsea a couple of times on trial as a young Geordie lad. So Gwyn was the head of youth development at Chelsea. So he'd always kept an eye on my career, going on through wherever I was, Newcastle, Bolton, Villa, Celtic, and then when I become available from Celtic, he'd obviously said to Dennis Wise, who was the manager, I had the lad when he was at Chelsea as a kid, like, you know, he's this, that and the other. And
Surely Wise knew about you as well, though. You know
aye,
what I mean?
Dennis,
One of them.
I think he probably did, but I played against the little rat a few times. But Dennis Wise and his wobbly eyes.
Were you a rat and all?
He was great with me, Dennis, but that was his song, wasn't it, on Radio 1 with Chris Moyles. He'd be driving into training, the Chris Moyles radio show. Dennis Wise has wobbly eyes, he looks like Nookie Bear. It's one of them things. Ripping the piss out of Leeds. He was a Leeds fan as well, Chris Moyles, wasn't he? He was ripping the piss out of the manager. I think it was the Chelsea connection. So Dennis got in touch and Gwyn got in touch and said, did I fancy it? Obviously Leeds at the time, Blakey was there, obviously Gary Kelly was there. It wasn't a great period in the club's history, but for me it was just a chance to get out and play. So I went, yeah. Enjoy the time though. Leeds was great, aye. As I said, it was a good bunch. Dennis was great with us. Gus Poirier was there. A lad called Joe Allen come in on the staff. And
the club captain?
I come in, he made us captain quite quickly, Dennis, aye. Gary Kelly was in the situation at Leeds, what I'd been in at Celtic, where Leeds were trying to get him out the door, probably get him off the wage bill. He wasn't involved in any of the matches, so Dennis said, look, I'm going to make you captain. So I had to go to Gary and say, listen, this isn't my doing, the gaffer wants it, I'm not standing on your toes type of thing. Because I knew Kells, I'd played against him.
Leeds legend.
Playing in the youth team for Newcastle against Leeds youth team. Kells was a similar age to me, so I used to play against him when we were kids. I'm up against him, I'm left-footed, he's a right-back, so I had a lot of respect for Kells, so actually spoke to him and gave him the heads up on what was happening, you know, so... I love Leeds, the fans were great. It was just a bad time in the club's history at the time.
How was Wise as manager?
He was good. He was thorough. He was right into his tactics. I mean, a lot of people said behind the scenes, "Oh, it's Gus Poirier does this, Gus Poirier does that." No, Dennis was clued in himself, right into his set players. Probably going back to his Wimbledon days, 4 against set players. I've never seen anything like it in terms of how meticulous he was. We'd get like a little catalogue of A4 paper on a Friday, take it home on a Friday night. We'd have to study it. Then before the game, like 10 minutes before kick-off when he's doing his whatever last words, you had to hand them in. So he'd take them off everyone. I used to try and hide them next to me towel and that with the pages open, you know, because he'd ask questions. Where should you be? He'd test you. So he'd ask 3 people, but he might not say, Tomo, who's the 5 in the wall?
You don't know it's coming.
So he might just say, Tomo, who's the 2-man wall on the right-hand side, so I had to know what other people's jobs were. And if you didn't get the question right, that's why I tried to hide it. Like,
you're like writing answers on your hand.
It was like trying to hide it, but he'd count them in to make sure he got everybody's. And if you didn't get it right, it was a 1 straight in the kitty. Yeah, it was 100 quid straight in. So he used to test you. It was good. Because you didn't have to just learn your jobs. You had to try and... I mean, some people were thick as shit. They couldn't even learn their own jobs. When he asked them a question, they just go, there's me wanna.
Coming from the wall and you go straight to your wallet.
there's me door. He was good, Dennis. He was very, very thorough.
Did you always know you wanted to get into coaching after?
I couldn't have done much else. You know, got a GCSE in pottery. What was I going to do with that? Do you know what I mean? So I started doing my badges when I was playing, when I was at Celtic. Still, even so, I'm probably about 30, 31 when I started doing my badges, and then just went on to do them all, and then gradually started at Newcastle doing the youth team, and then worked up from there.
So I bet you jumped at the chance to go back to Celtic then, considering you didn't feel like you had the send-off that you deserved.
Oh, once Lenny rang us and said, he was caretaker manager initially, and then when he said, if I get the job, I'd like you to come in type of thing, it was a no-brainer, even though I was doing the reserves at Newcastle at the time. it was kind of like, yeah, nice to go back and be a part of that massive club again.
You'd obviously played with Lenny, and then you're working under him. What are you, a different person, player to manager?
No, he was much the same. I think what you see is what you get. I think he was much like that as a player, Lenny. The way you see him on the pitch was how he was off the pitch as a player, and I think the way he was on the touchline as a manager was the way he was away from the touchline type of thing. So he was much the same as what you see is what you get. Yeah.
Did you set out wanting to be a manager eventually?
Initially I did. Obviously thought cut your teeth, do the coaching stuff. I mean, it's something I'd like to get back into. If something come up, I'd love to do it again. It's a bit of freedom. I love being on the grass, coaching young lads, developing players, whether it's first team level, which it was at times at Newcastle and certainly for a couple of years at Celtic. But yeah, I love it. I think it's great. It's a tough gig, you know. As a player, you've got a contract, so most of the time you're going to be there the length of your contract, if not sign a new contract. As a manager or a coach, you don't know where you are and when and how long. So that's the tough side of it. So maybe getting something secure with a youth team, 18s, 19s, something like that might be more. But I love coaching, yeah.
I imagine I know the answer to this already. It's in the book. But you had a fallout with him while you were there.
With Lenny?
Yeah.
I'll not go into that now. It wasn't really a fallout with him. I think it was from above. That's all I'll say. Yeah. It wasn't particularly me and him. It was more from above him, I would say.
So disappointing again, I imagine, the way the coaching side of it.
I mean, I go into it in big detail. It was just one of those. Will I hold my hands up? Will I not? Obviously, not go into too much detail, but it's all in there about what had gone on behind the scenes. Was I living right? Was I doing the right things? Was it my own doing? I don't think it was Lenny who shafted us particularly, but it's one of those answers. Get the book.
Yeah.
What the 2 years at Celtic coaching? Were you successful in them 2 years?
Yeah. We didn't win the league the first season. We just lost out, and then we won the league the second season. Yeah. So the first season it wasn't predominantly Lenny's squad. It was still the squad of the previous manager. So I think by the time we got some out and got our own blood in, the second season we made some good signings and yeah, we won the title in our second season. Yeah.
You were at Bury for a while, weren't you? And was that why it was all was it Stewart there?
Yeah, Stewart. I was all kicking off. It was.
Must have been a nightmare.
It was a nightmare for the players. The players weren't getting paid on time. The fans were frustrated.
That's with Clarkey, isn't it?
Yeah. Lee took us in, and it's just a nightmare for a club with that tradition. The fans, all right, they're not a massive club. They don't get massive crowds, but for that 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people, it's their lives, like, you know what I mean? For them to go down the pan, it's just tragic.
They're on the way back, though, aren't they?
The set up, aren't they? Yeah, so fingers crossed they can make a go of it, aye.
When you were playing with Gareth Southgate, I bet you couldn't see where he is now.
No. Although he was a great talker. He was always saying the right things, whether it was on the pitch or in the dressing room before the game or half time or after the game. He was good at putting his point across. But
could you ever see him as best mates with Woody?
No, I would never put Gareth and Woody as mates. But obviously at Palace, they were at Palace together, so that's where Woody become friendly with Gareth and Alan Pardew. I think they were quite tight, the three of them. So just before I left Villa, I was at Gareth's 30th birthday party in Sutton Coldfield, place called, was it Four Oaks? Lovely place. I couldn't afford to live on there, but Gareth could, and one or two others. Doug Ellis, the chairman, and that. But Gareth had a lovely big house, so it was his 30th, and I wasn't drinking. I'd had the heads up about going up to Glasgow possibly the next day. So I was thinking I better keep myself right, might need to drive to Glasgow. So great party. Gareth put a great function on, and great caterers were in, and he had a rock band on. And Woody's obviously there. Obviously nothing to do with Aston Villa, just as one of Gareth's best mates. And I think one of the rock band, I'd left fairly early, left my ex-wife there at the time to carry on partying. And then the next day I get to the story, Woody Spark, the lead singer from the rock band, gives him an absolute banjo. Police call and everything, and Big Woody sparked him. I think the lead singer of the rock band had tried to hit on Woody's missus, and Woody's just gone over and banjoed him. Like, so,
No one call tonight, boys.
I can imagine, like,
he probably didn't admit that when you had him on, did he, Woody? No, didn't tell you that.
I can imagine Gareth sat at the end of his bed after the party.
I know.
We weren't supposed to
What
end
has
like
gone
this.
on, yeah.
We weren't supposed to have the busies over it.
Blue lights outside and everything. I think it ended the party. I think the band packed up and said, that's us done, like, because the lead singer was out of it.
Quality.
What a guy.
Nice one, mate.
Yeah,
Good
thank
luck
you
next
very much for
week.
coming on. Good luck with the fight and with the book.
I know. Might carry on the boxing after, but not in the ring, just on the pads, so I don't get it back. Yeah.
Who would you least like to get in the ring with, like with all the hard men?
H from Steps.
Who you play because we spoke about Bobo, Jerry,
Big
Jerry
John.
Taggart.
John Hartson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the big man in action. Yeah, he's handy. Yeah, he's handy, the big fella, without a doubt. Imagine Party wouldn't be 3 bad, like.
My love of me, not a fighter.
I don't think you'd be a jabber. I just think you'd be one of them who just walks onto it. and
Wrestler.
Just
Take
gets
it.
He's
the,
a cuddler.
just wants to get it in the corner. Yeah.
If I've not knocked you out within a minute though, you've a fucking great chance. I'll have fatigued.
It's a long time, a minute, by the
I'll
way.
have fatigued
You
quickly.
do well if you've done a minute, by the way. I'm telling you now. I'm looking at the clock after 30 seconds with a gum shield in, and I'm thinking 2 minutes is a long time. So
What are you thinking for your walk on? Music?
possibly a blues song. Fog on the Tyne. I don't know, really. A bit of Jerry Cinnamon. I don't know. People are saying you've got to be like get the crowd involved in that, but I don't give a shit about the crowd. It's like something's got to get me in the zone, hasn't
Yeah.
it? So I'll probably not even notice the crowd. I'm fucking nearly vomiting now thinking about it. Fucking done as a kid. Now you got me thinking, well, am I going to be sick with a gum shield? I'll probably fucking choke on me gum shield or something. No, but being serious, talking about the vomiting, I hadn't even thought about the fight. Guaranteed I'll be spewing me ring up now.
Just don't have a
Definitely
gato. Don't have a
Yeah,
gato.
no, don't go for the gato.
I don't know what I'm going to eat before the fight.
Yeah.
I hope I'm first on. They've not even given us the order of the fights.
Just came with Lucas' air bottle just before bell.
Aye. Oh, well, this won't go out till after the fighting anyway, so I couldn't.
Well, cheers, mate. Book's out end of October.
Yeah, let's hope it'll be out by then. Aye, so get out there, and there's a few signings lined up here, there and everywhere, so yeah, hope it'll go all right.
Good luck with it, mate.
Yeah,
luck,
thank
mate.
you, man.